Everybody, thank you so much for being here. This is our second happy half hour for the Hearts of Montgomery County. We are really excited that everyone's here. We're going to be talking about nutrition security today with Kristen Alphen as well as Summer Day. So we are really excited. Want to thank our sponsors for being a part of this. On the next slide, we will see everyone's logo. And again, I want to give a special shout out to U.S. Anesthesia Partners for being our gold sponsor, our silver sponsors, Memorial Hermann and CHI St. Luke's Health. Bronze sponsors is Kiewit Energy, Kitchell Contractors, Texas Children's Hospital, and Wood Forest National Bank. Thank you guys all so much for being here and supporting American Heart Association, supporting Summer, supporting Kristen, supporting us. We really do appreciate it. I want to kick off the party and turn it over to our host, Kristen Alphen. She is the Executive Vice President of Wood Forest National Bank and our Montgomery County Board of Directors Chair. Kicking it over to you, Kristen. Take us away.
Thanks, Tracy. Thanks, team at AHA. Gosh, I can't even talk today. And thanks for everyone for joining us today. I am Kristen Alphen, Chairman of the Board for the past 2 years of the American Heart Association. This is our second happy half hour. So the first one, need to give a big shout out to Jim Parisi with CHI St. Luke's. He led us off on the first one. And so we're really excited to continue these sessions and just appreciate everyone being here. You know, the AHA has 3 pillars that we've really been working on this past year, and especially during COVID. The first, of course, women's health, the second being hypertension, and then of course today, our food and nutrition security. So being that we only have 30 minutes today, I kind of want to go ahead and jump in. And as you can see, we've invited Summer Day, President and CEO of Meals on Wheels, Montgomery County. And we've been thankful to partner with them over the past year with some great stuff. And, you know, I'll be honest, when it came to food insecurity, I understood that, but learning about nutrition insecurity was something completely new to me. And it was funny when we put this out, someone actually texted me, I won't call them out, but they said, hey, what in the world is that? And I was like, oh, you know, a shining moment of this is why we're doing this, is for people to learn and educate and understand what's going on exactly right here in our community. So, you know, I guess we'll start right there, Summer, and if you will explain nutrition security.
So I love that you guys are highlighting this because it's something that we really drive home at Meals on Wheels. We partner with a lot of local physicians that are specializing in holistic care of our seniors. And one of the comments that sticks out to me is that those that live at or below poverty level are overfed and undernourished. And that was such a huge light bulb. So what does that mean? It's not about pushing out food. It's not about, you know, the pastas and everything that sits in your pantry. Is what is it actually doing holistically to nourish our community? And our seniors are in a unique situation because they don't have the ability to cook food. Mm-hmm. So it's not like they can just go grab something and, you know, stand behind a stove and boil a pot of water to, you know, make pasta. So, you know, it became very important. What we give them needs to be really nutritionally filled so that we know that we're actually nourishing them, not overfeeding them.
Exactly. So when it comes to Montgomery County, I mean, what are you seeing, I guess, right here in our county? And it looks like she put a slide up, so I don't know if any of that is some of the statistics here or if that's national. And of course, AHA, you guys chime in on anything. But, you know, I guess when it comes to here, what are you seeing personally within our county?
Well, the senior population is the fastest growing population in the United States. And you can see some of the national statistics there, but we know Conroe is the fastest growing city in the United States. And so it's, you know, the combination of both of them. And when COVID became a very real pandemic in our county, we realized that our numbers were going to skyrocket. Seniors were scared. They didn't want to leave their homes. They didn't know what it meant for them. And so being able to continue to provide services to the growing number of seniors became our #1 priority.
So you just hit on the topic, right? COVID-19, we just spent our entire year pivoting, shifting, all the words that everybody said. So what did you guys do? What changed in your organization for you, for your seniors, for everyone during this year?
So one of the beautiful blessings of our organization is that we rely so much on the community for operation support. It takes almost 250 volunteers every single week to deliver meals across our county. Our county is 1,000 square miles. We have 86 routes. And so it takes a village. And when it became very apparent that we were not going to be able to send these community volunteers to our seniors' home for their safety and our senior safety, we had to pivot, the word my staff hates to hear. And so we basically had to figure out how a staff of 23 was going to do what over 200.
Wow.
So yeah, it was quite the change for us, on top of having an increased demand for services.
That's incredible. I mean, what you guys do, and to be able to do all that during that time is incredible. So thank you. So, you know, with the AHA, we look at nutrition security because it's a key risk factor, right? In heart disease and stroke. And so how do you guys, you know, from, I guess, science-based education, right? Meals on Wheels and the Heart Association, how do you guys look at that when it comes to what you're serving your clients? You know, I know this Heart Month, right? We got to all partner together, which hopefully she'll touch on that because I think it's the coolest thing in the world. But, you know, getting that nutrition to them, what is that like?
Yeah, so when I first joined Meals on Wheels about 5 years ago, it was all about just pushing food up. It was about meal count, you know, pounds of food, those kind of measurements. And then really taking a deeper dive into how do we holistically care for our community, for my program, specific seniors. And so that was a huge paradigm shift for us to think about, okay, what else are we doing? It's one thing to deliver a meal. It's another thing to think about, okay, what about, you know, hydration? That's a huge piece. You know, a lot of our seniors have dementia. They don't have the typical cues that, oh, it's time to eat, I need to drink a glass of water, or that type of thing. And so partnering with the American Heart Association has given us a lot of materials to be able to give to our seniors, as well as come up with creative ideas for volunteers in the community to engage and deliver things like water bottles. And, you know, just those small touches make a huge difference to our seniors that are homebound and don't have any exposure to the general public community.
Yeah. So if you haven't been out to Meals on Wheels, the one thing you'll see, and I know Larissa was out there with me, is a huge kitchen. And so, and a fabulous chef. And so I would love for you to share how we partnered in February.
So it was like the perfect timing during crisis, because we were already on this path to holistic care and how we really nourish our seniors. And so when you guys came along and said, what are you guys doing? How can we partner? And you gave our chef a cookbook that was so inspiring. And so we looked through this, and it was a lot of discussions around the round table. Okay, so if our seniors typically have had a cheeseburger, how are they going to feel about salmon? You know, this is a big change. The average age of our senior on service is 82. They loved it. They loved it. The phone calls just started coming in. Thank you. Thank you so much for the changes in our meals. And so by the end of the summer, we will be 100% American Heart Association healthy meals. We are from scratch kitchen. So we have ultimate control over everything that we put out there in the community. But it's just exciting to not only have the partnership, but to have the community embrace it and you know, respect what it is and say, thank you. This is amazing.
Well, that's awesome. You know, when she first told me that the client's reaction to the food was good, right? Because you never know. I mean, if someone was feeding me cheeseburger and gave me salmon, I don't know that I might have the same reaction. I might say, give me that cheeseburger, but it warmed my heart, right? Because, you know, we want to do better, and where we think about food insecurity, they're thinking, you know, that next level for their clients. And it's just impressive what Meals on Wheels has done. If you guys haven't been out there, Larissa, I know you've been out there. I don't know if you've got any thoughts and that you want to share.
Thank you so much. And also I'll introduce Emily Paul, who's our Community Impact Director, who has worked really closely with some of the staff at Meals on Wheels in Conroe. And I'll just say, you know, the American Heart Association is really taking a look at systems level change. And in order to achieve systems level change, which is sustained change, not just one little intervention that will impact 5, 6 people, a dozen people, but really looking to work with partners such as Meals on Wheels for sustained change for healthier communities. So what that looks like is, if you really zoom out and hover above the issue and look at our state level work, healthier policies around SNAP expansion, and then working at the ground level to make that appeal to, I think, seniors that are eligible for SNAP, and just trying to work on some of those engagements. We also like to work on things such as food prescriptions, and we really rely on our partners such as Meals on Wheels to even try to do any of these interventions. So heart healthy policies, whether it's with an organization or a school district, we rely heavily on these wonderful partners, and certainly rely heavily on you all, Summer, at Meals on Wheels, to be able to do anything at all. So, during the pandemic, we also, just at the very ground level, this is not necessarily systems level change, but we gave out some boxes of fruits and vegetables. We're able to pair those with educational resources. There's a huge desire for educational resources with all of our partners, not just community partners, but also clinical. So I'll stop here and see if Emily has anything to add, but I express extreme gratitude for your letting us in to be able to offer anything at all, and really appreciate you.
I echo that gratitude. Summer, it's been really a pleasure to get to know your staff and to hear about the incredible work that you are doing. You mentioned seniors, but you also serve clients who may be going through chemotherapy. And that was something that I learned. I did not know that earlier. And so that change in nutrition, it might be disruptive for somebody who's feeling sensitive to those kinds of food changes. But, going back to your point of holistically, it actually, food is medicine, right? And so I'm happy to be partnering with you on that journey.
Yeah, and you speak about that, and we have about 125 clients that are on dialysis. And so there was a huge demand for renal sensitive foods. And so in our brand new location, we're able to make those accommodations for renal diets, diabetic diets, and then also our liquid food. In the past, we just did Ensure, but who wants to drink Ensure 3 times a day for the rest of their life? No one. So, using the fresh fruit and creating protein smoothies, it's that kind of care for our seniors that is just, it's critical, and they're so appreciative. If you could listen, I send an email once a week to my board, and I try to include a voicemail of one of our seniors talking about how much they love the changes that are coming. And it was a big fear, like you said, who's going to want to go from a cheeseburger to salmon? But we're doing fresh cold meals, so we're doing like a healthy chicken salad with a side of fruit on Fridays. Oh my gosh. You would have thought it was like a 5-year-old with McDonald's. Thank you so much. Thank you. So it's been such a powerful partnership to really bring that change to our community and to so many. We have about 800 seniors on our home delivered meal service. We have about 300 that are in our congregate dining, which not all the centers are opened yet, but you're talking about almost 1,000 seniors in our community that are directly impacted by this partnership. So it's huge. It's game changing.
Oh, that's incredible. And I'm going to ask one more question, is volunteers. Are you back to allowing volunteers? Because I know that's a huge usual need, right?
We are. So we were thankful to have a partnership with Lone Star Family Health Center. So almost all of our seniors have gotten vaccinated, and almost all of our volunteers have gotten vaccinated. And so we are still using, the mask, social distancing, that sort of thing, but we are open to volunteers. So daily we have opportunities in our kitchen. Like I said, we're from scratch kitchen. They show up at 5:30 in the morning, not the volunteers, paid staff, and begin cooking whatever the meal is that day. And then we have volunteers come in from 9 to 11 and help seal the trays and pack the coolers for the meals to go out. Obviously, we've got opportunities to deliver meals throughout the county. Again, we're a large county. It takes a lot of us to make that happen. But there's all kinds. I mean, we have volunteers that come in and make our breakfast bags. We found a lot of our seniors were not taking their morning medicine because they didn't have food and it upset their stomach. And so they were waiting till lunch till they got their meal, which was shocking. And so we needed to get food out to them, shelf-stable food, healthy food, so they could take their medicine when they were supposed to. You know, we have opportunities like that. We've got weekend opportunities. Not very many nonprofits have weekend opportunities because we all like to have a break. But you can deliver breakfast bags or pet food on weekends. We also found that our seniors were sharing their meal with their furry family member because that's their family. They didn't necessarily have enough money to buy pet food. Most of our seniors live on less than $600 a month. And so when the choice became pet food, they decided they would share their food. We did not want that to happen. So we distribute almost 2,000 pounds of pet food every single month to our seniors so that they can nourish their pets and nourish themselves.
That's awesome. So as you can hear, volunteer. If you want something to do, you know, you can go to their website, mowmc.org, and there's a huge volunteer button. So I saw it when I went on there today, and you can literally choose different options to go volunteer. Is there anything else you want to share about Meals on Wheels?
You know, I think what I want to share is how amazing our community is and how, you know, we watch things and we think about, you know, the conflicts and all these things that are going on, but truly Montgomery County is an amazing place to live. And when we've had issues like our freezer and walk-in cooler that shut down and we were out of food, everyone rallied. I mean, we just live in an amazing community. And so I want to thank you guys for taking the time to learn more about Meals on Wheels, but then just, you know, embrace our community for all the great stuff that's going on.
100%. And, you know, I think without, you know, I don't want to say the pandemic is a good thing, but we got to learn a lot about our nonprofits, the strength of nonprofits, and how we could all join together over this past year and do things together. And sometimes some of us were doing all the same things, and coming together to do that same thing has just been incredible. So we're thankful that we got to partner with you and definitely a lot others in our county and become a lot closer. So thank you for doing this.
Yes. And having a long-term partnership.
Yes,
not just a moment.
End. Yes, it's not going to end. And so that's what we love. Tracy, I'm going to kick it back to you, unless there's any questions for Summer. I mean, I know we've got quite a bit out there, so if anybody's got a question, please shoot it over.
I was going to jump in, Kristen. Thank you so much, Summer and Kristen, for facilitating this conversation. And I have to say, you know, when you mentioned the dog food, it just really gets me so excited because at the AHA, we talk a lot about how animals can have a great impact on your cardiovascular health and how they can encourage you to get moving and those little things each day that then impact your overall health. So that really excited me, but I do have a question more so about the education. So it makes me, I was so surprised to hear that your community is loving the healthier choices that they're getting to make, you know, through some of the changes that y'all are making. And I'm just wondering, do you think, you know, are they learning new things about what is good for them and why it's good for them? Or is it stuff that they already knew, they just had obstacles or challenges, barriers that kept them from making those healthier choices?
That's a great question. And honestly, I don't know the answer to that, but what I can tell you is the feedback from them has been so positive about the meal changes that I almost think that they know this. And this is, like I said, when you talk about 82 years old, they grew up, you know, eating home cooked food, and, you know, there wasn't fast food options. There wasn't, you know, those type of things. And so I think, you know, their bodies craved that type of nutrition again. You know, we did a lentil, something out of the cookbook. It was like a lentil and sweet potato soup. I think we had probably 24 phone calls. Thank you for bringing soup. We're so excited about the soup. You know, and just things that we didn't really think before, because I think the mindset has always been just push the food out. You know, how much food can we give out? And there were partnerships with, you know, Starbucks, and we were giving muffins and Danishes and all the stuff that, you know, it was just like, don't waste it. But it doesn't do any good if it's not healthy for them. And so that was a huge eye-opening conversation to have internally with the team, with my board. You know, how do we move forward and really nourish the community? And, you know, I have a great partnership with the food bank as well. And we had a meeting yesterday talking about that, about, you know, sometimes maybe our metrics are off. Maybe the way that we measure things are off, you know, because everybody's graded on these different things. Okay, it's pounds of food, it's this and that. But if it's not nourishing you, then what's the point? And so really taking that deeper dive into those conversations has been really empowering.
Awesome. Yeah, because I guess a pound of candy is a pound versus a pound of grapes, right? And
yeah. Well, and you guys talked about the box of fruit that y'all delivered. So our #1 requested food item is fresh fruit from our seniors. That is what they want. And so we work really hard to make sure that they get fresh fruit at least 3 times a week. We would love to up it to 5 times a week. The challenge always is procuring it, but then also preparing it, because again, our seniors, they're not going to stand and chop a watermelon. They can't. So we have to figure out how to do that, you know, ahead of time for them. And that's why we rely so heavily on volunteers in the kitchen to help us with those kind of things. But yes, that was a huge gift. They were so excited about the fruit.
I love it. Any other questions? Tracy, send it to you then.
All right, Megan, can you pull up the next slide, please? All right. Well, thank you all so much for being here today. This has been a great conversation. I've learned a lot. This has been wonderful. I'm so happy to hear about this partnership and everything that we're all doing. As you can see on the screen, though, we have 2 more happy half hours coming up. And really, with no heart ball this year, this is why this conversation is so important, to continue to facilitate what work we're doing in the community. But that wouldn't be possible without all of your support. So thank you so much for being here. We do have 2 more coming up. And so please invite your friends and family and colleagues to join the next couple ones we have. Hypertension is going to be a great conversation. And then we are going to be doing a hands-only mini CPR demonstration in June, which I think is going to be fantastic, because I think a lot of people still believe that mouth to mouth is a part of CPR, and we have moved away from that. So this is going to be a great opportunity to learn something new and hopefully save a life. I'm going to turn it over to Kristen to wrap us all up and bring us home. But again, thank you so much for being here on behalf of American Heart Association. We are grateful for your attendance today.
Yes, thank you, Tracy. And, you know, as she said, we have gone beyond the gala table this year. And, you know, we do ask for support for Montgomery County. And for the AHA in particular, you can text Heart of MoCo to 41444. Or, you know, Tracy and Megan are on this call. If you want to learn how to be involved, if you want to learn how to volunteer with the Heart Association or Meals on Wheels, please message them, get a hold of them. They are more than happy to talk through the different ways that you can be a partner to both of our organizations. As they said, please watch the hypertension. Carrie Guerrero, the Chief Nursing Officer of Houston Methodist Hospital, is going to host that one. And I'm super excited to tune in and listen to that one. Because again, these are topics that we all don't get to talk about very regularly or hear about. But I will say at the end of all this, we hope again to be back in the room next February for a big celebration at the Heart Ball and to celebrate all the work that us and our community partners have done this year. So thank you, Tracy and the whole team for putting these together. We greatly appreciate it. Thank you, Summer.
Thank you for having me.
For coming and bringing the wine to our happy half hour. We couldn't do this without you guys and all of our partners in Montgomery County. So we greatly appreciate you. So everyone register for the next one. And of course, the CPR. I think all of our CPRs are fun. If you want to host a CPR in your workplace or anything like that, you know, contact the AHA for that as well. And we're happy to do some small group trainings. So thank you all again for joining in. And as I promised, we're done in 30 minutes. Thank y'all.